Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ginger and Chocolate Podcast. I'm your co-host Mike, and I'm here with Lindsay and a very special guest today. Lindsay, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well, actually. I actually got sleep last night, which is usually not the case. So
Hell yeah.
feeling pretty stoked this
Yeah.
morning.
That's how
Yeah.
you know this is a podcast ran by middle-aged adults
hmm
as we talk about the quality of sleep.
One other thing that happened last week that I'll just share is that my therapist was like talking to me about rules, and I'm a rule follower, and there were rules when I was growing up, and lots of instruction. And she said, adults outside of like legal stuff, like societal rules, don't have rules. Like you don't have to. And I was like, what? She's like, you could like leave the fridge door open if you wanted to while you were doing something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's insanity. So this week I practiced not following rules in my life, and it's been uncomfortable as fuck, but also very liberating. So I highly
So,
recommend it.
like what? Just like leaving the car door open and like going
I,
inside, or like what kind of rules are we breaking here?
It's just little crap that I, have a hard time letting go. So the toilet paper roll is whichever way Josh puts it on. If he puts it on, which previously I was like, you're a murderer if you don't have the roll go a specific way. Had the AC running in my car and the window down because I
Yes.
wanted fresh air, but I wanted, you know, I didn't want my windshield to, fog up. So I had the AC on, but I had it turned on high heat and I had the window down.
Well, it
And I was
sounds to
like,
me like you are waiting for. Have you seen those? I don't know. There's like shorts or clips or reels on Instagram where someone will do something really funny and the person can't laugh because they have this big meme of Jesus looking at them. Like, better
yes.
not. So
That's exactly right. That's exactly
okay,
right. But it felt pretty good to be like, oh, I don't actually have to tell myself, like, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. I can just be like, oh, and I ate bacon too, which, as we know, I have a thing about animals, but I do be loving bacon. So I had some. It felt awkward, but it tasted delicious.
yes, the
hmm
paradox of delicious food from animals that we love.
That's right. That's right. So it was
And on
awesome.
that
Just thought
note,
I'd share that.
well, thank you. Yeah, I break rules all the time. So that's just me. But maybe this week I'll try following more rules, like not jaywalking. We'll see. So today we have an awesome special guest, Brock Gibbs, coming at us from outside of Montreal. And we're going to talk about his book today, Nosebleeds the Maga Man, and other adventures about running and getting punched in the face. So, Brock Gibbs, welcome to the show again, brother. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah, you're coming from, well, your spring break is not the spring break we see on MTV. Right now, it's currently -4 up there.
Absolutely. In fact, we don't even, we refuse to call it spring break now. We just call it the March break.
The March break, yeah. Yeah, that's more apt.
It's
That's
more
like,
apt because it's definitely not spring. I'm looking out at, snow and it's -4. And that's a
ooh,
good thing. That's going up.
yeah, wow,
You,
yeah,
you got your Girls Gone Wild videos. They're just taking off like the parka, like a snow parka.
Exactly. It's like,
Like,
woohoo, sexy lady.
yeah.
Look at the
So,
toque on that one.
the toque on that one, yeah, oh yeah. So, first things first, I just wanted to get to this. Look, we had the Four Nations face off, and I don't know if you're a hockey fan, but that
Oh,
was an
yeah.
excellent finish, an excellent championship game for the USA versus Canada. McDavid coming in with a goal, in overtime there. Yeah, how stoked are you about that?
That was a pretty proud
Yeah.
moment for us. But what I really, that was a great game. It was one of the best hockey
Oh my
games
God.
I've
Yeah.
seen in years. But the first that's Canadian for you. The first game against the States that Canada lost, whereas in 9 seconds there were three fights.
Oh my God.
Did you
Yeah.
watch that game?
I sure did. Yeah.
It brought me, because I used to play junior, like a high level hockey, and every single game that we played started just like that.
Oh my God.
All of them, 100%. It was like, oh my god, it was like nostalgia.
Yeah.
It was something.
It was a beautiful thing. I mean, obviously, it looked to me, through my biased lenses, like it was a pretty even match because, like, as far as the fights went in the first 9 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Because definitely we saw some of our boys from the U.S. eating some ice, So it was a nice foreshadowing of a great tournament.
Oh, it was, and it was just like all the commentators were saying. You're so used to all-star type games just being an absolute sleeper. Like to watch the NBA All-Star game, why?
No defense.
There's no defense. Not that there's
Yeah.
any defense in the NBA anyway, but there's
Yeah.
even less in an All-Star game. Baseball's okay but most of them is just, oh my god. In football, they don't even bother playing anymore. It's just let's throw a football through a tire, okay?
Exactly.
Superstar.
Oh God, yes. I saw this meme that said, like, NFL execs, hey, can we at least try to pretend like we're playing? NBA execs, can we at least pretend to do some defense? And then, NHL, I will literally die for my flag on this ice right now. And I'm like, that's about the size of it.
That's
That's what we
about
got
the
to
size
see.
of it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we want to definitely highlight, your book. This is the second book, at least that I'm aware of, that you've written. Because we talked about my coworkers think I'm a pro last time we met, and I'm trying to think how far back that was. That might have been even pre-COVID.
It was COVID. It was
Was
right in
COVID?
the
Yeah,
thick of COVID because I finished the
yeah,
book just as COVID was starting.
yeah.
All right.
And then Nosebleeds the Maga Man been out since late fall.
Yeah, November.
Yeah,
November.
November. That's right. Yeah, so excellent book, and I had the honor of being on one of the pages endorsing it, like anyone should have. And I was telling people, and I wrote it in there. It felt to me like a mix of some great authors like Kurt Vonnegut, Hunter S. Thompson, and one of our American environmentalist authors from Florida, Carl Hyacin. So it just great topics and funny, and your personality just shines through the whole book. You want to take us through, like, what was the inspiration to write again, and what was the inspiration to put together this collection of stories?
Well, first of all, when I finished the first book, there were some of the stuff that you see in the new book I had originally had ready for the first book. But, I was told that if a book is 900 pages, no one's going to bother. Like I've got to be honest, I wouldn't have read it. It's just,
Yeah.
okay, look at that. It's too big. So
Yeah.
some of that was in there. And I just like to, I'm writing now. I'm always writing something. In fact, right now I'm working on a novel, which is significantly harder than stuff that actually happened. Cause like I get accused of making some of this stuff up, and none of the stuff in those two books was made up at all.
Oh yeah.
But when you're trying to make something up, it's like, oh, I'm totally lost. You're trying to write the whole book in one sitting, right? You got the whole story in your head, and I got to get it all out, and you don't.
Can I ask a quick question before you go on?
Sure.
Could you do a quick synopsis of each book, just for people who are listening, so they have an idea of what to expect when they buy your first book, and then what to expect with the second one?
Sure. The first one is called My Coworkers Think I'm a Pro, which is just basically an exploration of what a typical age group, amateur, newbie triathlete will go through. All the experiences that you get from your first triathlon with being terrified of the swim, at least I was. And when you put on a wetsuit, and all the panic that goes through, and all the quirky sort of things that non-triathletes would never think about, like stuff in transition. And I still look at it when I go into transition zone and I see people setting up all their stuff and how long they stay in transition. I don't understand that.
Oh,
But all that kind of,
Lindsay's one of those.
I'm looking, I think I have to pretend to do something, but
Yeah.
but I gotta, stuff like that. It's about basically the life of an amateur. It's all true stuff that happened to me, triathlete. The new book is just a series of, some of them were originally blog posts. And I expanded on them, and they're individual stories. None of them actually necessarily connect with each other. The first book is like, it's a chronological thing. This one jumps all over the place, and you could open the book and read any chapter and not read any of the other ones, and it would stand alone. Whereas with the first book, you wouldn't understand what's going on unless you kind of read before and after.
Also about triathlon and endurance sports or something else?
Mostly, yeah.
Okay.
Mostly.
Both
Got a
both
few.
both books, I bring in real life experiences to show how triathlon can be, or running or whatever, can be like things you experience in life. Like people will often say, you live an entire life, you learn everything you need to know about yourself in an Ironman, which is almost true. Like it's all there. Yeah, hatred, it's
Yeah.
Yes.
there of yourself and others, frustration, elation, fatigue, all the stuff, hunger.
I learned I can overcome my fairly severe germophobia late in the day when I have to use a porta potty. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, this
I
is
won't die.
happening. I
This is
don't care how
happening.
about my shoes anymore. It's just, we got to do this.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the sound that you make, usually it's like you're really trying, when you go to a public bathroom, you cough or something, but it's like, okay, but we've all done this.
It's what it is.
People are running, farting on the course, and everyone's like, all right, there we go.
Yeah. In fact, one of the ultra marathons I did, it was late in the race. It was in Portland, Pacific Crest Trail 100 or something.
Yeah.
And we were near the end of the race, and I was hurting. And I had just finished. I went off into the woods to drop a deuce. And so I come back on the trail, and this 45-year-old woman passed me. And right in the middle of the trail, popped a squat right in front of me. And it was a number 2. And I'm thinking, there you go.
There you
Ultra
go.
running. Welcome
Hey.
to
Pull
Oregon.
it over, lady, just a little bit, so we don't have to jump around your poop.
Exactly. But whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
You do what you got to do.
Yes, the whole societal agreement with using the bathroom is different when I have on a cycling kit than when I have on like work clothes.
Oh, yeah.
Like I would
yeah.
never go to work and pee between two cars. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I'd get arrested personally because I'm at a high school, but
well, yeah, that's. I'm an
it's
accountant.
frowned
I don't know
upon.
that-
Yeah, it's frowned upon.
Yeah.
But I would feel like I was crazy, right?
Oh, yeah, you're an absolute crazy person.
Cycling kit, I'm like, yeah, I gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even just on a training run or ride. So, well, it's
right.
your fault for having a restaurant here.
Pretty much. They asked
It's
for
Tim
it.
Hortons. What do you expect?
Yeah, I think the same applies to me too, because I'm generally getting off my bicycle when I'm training to use, to pee versus a race where I'm just, no, we're going.
Yeah.
We're going less than 10 miles per hour while this happens.
Yeah. You want a draft? Be my guest.
Exactly.
I cannot pee on my bike. And I tried once in the Santa Cruz 70.3. I was like, okay, because I'm very slow in transition, and I will pull over and just like go into the porta potty on like a Olympic distance, you know what I mean? Which makes it huge. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to just go. My body was like, no, you're not. You're not. You're just not. I mean, I was trying everything, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just hold it. My body's like, you're not doing that either. And I'm like, I guess I'll pull over, use a porta potty. And my body was like, ding, ding, ding. That's what we're going to do.
Curtain number 3.
Exactly.
And then I was like, but I'm going to also come in like 35th place. So really, do I need to pee? I mean, what's the difference between 37th and 35th? Who cares?
Exactly.
Yeah. I wanted to ask Brock, how did you get into endurance sports, and how long you been in the game? Because I know you've been at this a while and pretty accomplished, between triathlon and ultra distance events. And how'd you come to this insanity that we call endurance?
Well, the first thing was I got to the age where I was an adult. I'm an adult now, so I hockey was no longer an option. I wasn't going to make it to the NHL. I didn't even really. I got kind of frustrated with it because, like I said before we were talking, how every single game I played was lots of fighting, and that's fun for a while. Like when the police are on the ice and the players are up in the stands, and it looks like the movie Slapshot. Like you kind of, It's like I'm in university now. I'm playing college hockey. And it's like, okay, well, I don't want to play anymore. So I quit that. And I needed to find something because I can't stand not being in shape. So I would always kind of run just to keep myself fit. And a friend of mine, when I was living in Vancouver, so, well, I'm entering a 10K this weekend. Do you want to go? No, sure. I don't really know what to expect. I don't even have proper running gear. Just have shoes and jean shorts and stuff like that. And I went in, and I figured so long as I could kind of keep him in sight, I've done well. And we finished, and like he was way behind me. I thought, oh, this is kind of fun. And then it went from there. And in terms of triathlon, I explained this in my first book. My coworkers think I'm a bro.
That's the next book.
That's the next book. Yeah, I'll be on Joe Rogan podcast if
Oh my gosh.
But I would been running, and I was going to the Boston Marathon to run, and it's 5 hour drive, 5.5 hour drive. So I at that time I got myself a book on CD for the car, and I thought it was a walk in the woods. And when I popped it in the machine, it ended up being Lance Armstrong's book. And I found it really, really interesting. And the title of the book is It's Not About the Bike, but it was the bike stuff that I was really interested in. So from then on, I just devoured everything cycling, and I figured I want to do a bike race. And the only way I could think of doing a bike race was in the middle of a triathlon. It's the only bike race I heard of that adults do that aren't, professionals. So that's what I did. I trained, and then I went into my first triathlon and almost panicked to death in the swim. It was just brutal.
What distance was it?
It was a sprint try. So it was over in like 20 minutes, but the swim was, oh boy, was I scared.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I realized how common that is with people. I did one of my first triathlons with my brother-in-law down in sunny San Diego, perfect weather, nice vibes. And he's an accomplished swimmer, growing up, swim team his whole life. And he had a panic attack in the wetsuit.
Yeah.
The wetsuit will do it to you, like you talk about. And, it's so interesting how we come to the sport, because for me, cycling was the last thing. Cycling for me was just like, all right, motherfucker, I guess I'll get on this bike. Was, I think, the thoughts I had, if I'm paraphrasing, but I loved running. That came natural. Learned to swim next, and then it's interesting. Here's one for you. Before my first 70.3, I think I was like training mostly with a hybrid bike, just ride around the neighborhood, getting the time distance in. Here's Mike's Google search 3 weeks before Ironman 70.3 Santa Rosa was, is there a technique to cycling? Turns out
there's no technique.
Turns out there is. There is. Yeah. So I found that out, and I had the holy shit panic moment. Like, I don't know if I can do this for 56 miles.
Technique number 1, you can get through it on a hybrid, but you're sitting straight up.
Yeah.
Like you're riding in an 1800s bike, and it's going to suck.
You're a snowplow. It's like a penny farthing.
Exactly.
I had the same type of experience, but with the wetsuit for the swim. Like 2 weeks before, the race was in Connecticut. Again, another 5-6 hour drive. I think, okay, well, I don't know. I probably should get a wetsuit because, like the stuff that I've seen on YouTube, everybody's got a wetsuit. So I went out and I bought a wetsuit, and I'm in the store, put it on up to my waist, and I felt, this is fucking amazing. I didn't even zip it up. Like, why do I need to? I'll take it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And the second time I put it on, and the first time I put it on all the way was at the race in Connecticut. I went to, let's go do a warm up. Zip. Oh, I'm not even in the water yet, and I want to die. I couldn't even breathe. It was horrible. And then I walked into the water, and you don't feel the water touching you.
Yeah.
It's not touching my leg directly.
Yeah.
And it was just, everything was so weird.
Did you get the water coming in? Because my first race, my big mistake. Now, I had been swimming a little bit with my team with my wetsuit on, so I had some idea. But what I didn't know was to get water in my suit to begin with during warm up. And my race was in colder water than I had been practicing in my wetsuit. So I didn't know to do that. So I felt comfortable in the wetsuit. I'm like, got this. Nope. Because as soon as the cold water went in, that feeling of panic came. Yes, exactly. I did that. And then it was like panic time all the way around, all the way around the little sprint distance, like 500-meter course, So there's a lot to it. And right. So if you're new to triathlon and you're listening to this, a couple quick pointers here that you just heard from the guys. Don't Google shit like 2 weeks out. Google now if you're going to Google.
Go ahead, Google now.
Yeah.
or don't at all. Don't, just go.
Show up and
just show up and
live that experience and be like, holy shit.
That is an option for sure.
Yeah. Either way, you're still going to panic.
That's true.
So, put it this way, something for sure is going to go wrong, whether it's major or minor. There's something that for you're going to consider it as having gone wrong.
Exactly. That's part of it. That's probably the most sage advice I've heard for a triathlon, because so many of us, I can't take credit for being one of these people, but are type A. And so we show up to these races and everyone's focused on like, your time per mile or kilometer and your splits and this and that. And, something's going to go wrong. Mm-hmm. And if you're too type A or too focused on that, it's going to derail you completely.
Oh, yeah. Even if it's just like at one race I was in Tremblant, I had already done a lot of triathlons, and I'm the type of guy that kind of wants to win my age category, or I was. I haven't raced in a while. So, and I got a drafting penalty, which was bullshit. I'm just going to state it right now. It's bullshit. But anyway, I got over it. But like, I got angry at the poor marshal. Like, I used all the words.
French
one starting
English?
with C, one starting with B. All the words got used, both languages. Yes. And it's like, what's? It's kind of like when I was coaching basketball. You'd see the other coach who's younger. Usually, it's the young guys. They're losing their shit at the ref, and I'm thinking, do you really think this guy's going to change his mind now? Like, because you're yelling at him? Do you think that's going to help you? I don't think so.
My bad.
Sorry, that's right. Go. I'm going to put you on the back of the motorcycle and take you to the front.
Yeah. I'm sorry, swearing middle-aged man, but I see your point now, and it's well taken. You really opened me up to receive, criticism and constructively by the way you approached me. So,
especially if the person's younger. I don't know how many times I've been called a boomer recently, but it's like, dude, fuck off, Gen X.
Yeah, exactly. Don't mess with Gen X. Don't mess. I don't know, Mike, if you've heard, but we're essentially considered feral at this point, Gen Xers, because we were raised a little bit, on our own. And I know that Gen Z gets this. They look at us and they go, if they can discern between a boomer and a Gen Xer. I've seen memes on TikTok saying, just everybody leave these Gen Xers alone. They don't care. Their feelings don't get hurt. They will crush you verbally and physically. They've feral.
Never had a play date. They've
exactly. They're like
wild in the neighborhoods.
Don't call them. Don't summon the Gen Xers. They're crazy.
Yeah. They've been drinking coffee since they were 7.
I know. Tried their first cigarette at like 10 or 11. So it's I'm in the gap, right, between the millennial and Gen Xers. Mm-hmm. They call us like Xennials, or it's the late 70, like first couple of years of 80 births. So I'm young enough to know how to, use the computer and internet and everything, but I'm old enough to know what it's like to go to the fucking library and like look things up in the Dewey Decimal System card catalog.
Yeah. Look through index cards. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was crazy time.
Or where knowledge was like given to you by some fucking guy, and you're, your friend's basement. They're just like older brother who just smoked a lot of weed and just had his opinions and everything. You're like, well, that's my source of knowledge, or my dad. So
Yeah,
That and
exactly.
encyclopedias. So, I was just going to say something about being a Gen X, but I forgot. So if it comes up in my brain, I'll bust
That's
it
the
with
other
it.
thing about just Gen Xers. That.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
What
exactly.
what was I talking about?
Yeah.
Who
No,
cares? Fuck it.
mid rant.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well,
I know what it was. I could not do this now, but Brock, do you remember being able to find your friends at like a concert without a phone?
Oh yeah.
Like how,
ooh,
you know what I mean? Like I don't even know how we met up, but I'd go to I went to Reggae Sunsplash at the Hollywood Bowl and just like found my friends, you know?
Oh
And
yeah.
if you tried to tell me to find my friends now in a group of 5 people at a coffee shop, I'm like looking at my phone, like where,
send me a pin. Yeah,
that's right.
I
Yeah.
don't
Drop
know
a
which
pin.
table.
Or
That's
you're
right.
you're talking to like my son. He's 15, and like yesterday he went night skiing. We do that here, and like he's got a phone. He's got all the apps. There's all the different things you can use. He has
Uh-huh.
no idea what time he's meeting his friend at or where. It's like,
Yeah,
what the
yeah,
fuck is wrong with you? Like, I know where you're meeting your friend. Like,
yeah,
it's not hard. Use that little
yeah.
device that's glued to your hand.
Yeah, that was the old days where you'd prearrange a plan,
Mhm.
meet there, or if not, have a contingency on where you went next. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. And people would wait. That's the thing that people don't do now. Like, if I got to the place where my friends and I were meeting and they weren't there yet, I would just stand there and just
yeah,
wait. Now it's like, well, where are you? What's happening? Should we meet? And then you might change the meeting. You know, it's a whole thing now. Whereas before, you
Yes.
would just stand there like, well, the friends will show up at some point, and I'll meet up with them.
yeah,
Except for
Yeah.
that time when I took acid, that didn't go so well.
I met everybody that day.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
let's say I met everybody but my friends, and those are the people I needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, so tell us a little bit more about your book. We were gonna get to what your motivation was for writing it and kind of the why behind it. So, 40 minutes later, let's circle back to that.
Well, let me say this about the book. I think I might have, based on sales so far, I think I made a couple of mistakes. One, my editor's in England, and I'm from Canada. And we decided that we should call the book this, which is Nosebleeds and the Maga Man, and have the word MAGA written in red brightly on the cover, and releasing it right around the time of the US presidential election.
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think people read the title and are afraid by it.
well, let's
On
Right.
say,
either side, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
so it's like, oh, is this some pinko snowflake lefty, or is this a MAGA dude? And
or
people
are
go,
we going to see a wave of red hats in triathlon and ultra running? Just a wave of just
yeah, exactly, yeah, with the
Yeah.
pickup truck running the whole time in the parking lot because
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm charging my phone.
He's charging my
Okay,
phone, and this fucking environment's getting out of control. We gotta fucking take it down a notch, right?
yeah.
That's funny. So
So
what
that
did you mean? What were you thinking when you created that title?
well, that's the title of the longest story in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was I guess the best, my favorite story in the book, and it has a MAGA man in it,
Ah,
and that's kind of the whole thing. Is that I'm not a MAGA guy. I'll say it
yeah.
straight out. I'm a left kind of guy. Studied politics in college, and everybody who does that tends to be a little on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And I watch cable news all the time, CNN, MSNBC, and some from time to time Fox. And up here, looking at those MAGA people, they're like a caricature to me. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's a joke, and you also have an image that they're ignorant and vile and violent and all these things. So when I went to St. George, Utah, for the World Championships just after the pandemic, actually it was kind of still going on, but 2021, the 70.3 World Championships, I had this feeling when I booked my flights and everything that something big was going to happen at the race. I didn't know what it was, but I assumed it's because this is my first time traveling since COVID. That must be it. And the whole time I was in St. George, I had this feeling that something's going to happen. I don't know what it is, but there's got to be something special that's going to happen. And lots of things did happen, but none of them felt special. Like the main thing that happened was I crashed my bike going 70 kilometers an hour, broke my collarbone, my pelvis, my ribs, and scraped, like didn't have any skin on the left side of my body anymore. Major problem. And I got transported to the hospital, and in the waiting room of the hospital, there was a whole bunch of people. No, like I said in the book, this is not the part of Utah that they put the travel brochures to people. Like there's a couple of tweakers in there. There was a old crooked lady, looked like a question mark, and she just kept complaining about how cold it was in there. I'm cold. I'm cold. I'm cold. It's like, okay, is it? Are you? Okay. And over off to my right, far away, was a MAGA guy. And picture a MAGA person in your head. That's exactly what he looked like. The hat with all the T-shirts that said, pro-Trump, pro-guns, pro-life, pro-everything, and dirty, and I just looked at him and thought, oh, fuck, I don't know about this guy. I don't like anybody in here right now, and I'm in a lot of pain. But I said to myself, if I were to fall out of this wheelchair, nobody here would help me, and definitely not that guy. And of all the people in here I don't want to have help me, it would be that guy. So I'm sitting in the chair, and I had my wallet on the armrest of the chair, and I moved because I was uncomfortable, and I knocked the wallet off, and it fell on the floor. And oh fuck! Now I have to try and get up and pick this up, and nobody helped me except the MAGA guy. He came all the way over, and he sat with me for a while. We had a discussion, and he bought me a smoothie from Jamba Juice and all kinds of stuff. It was like, it was so surprising to me that the one person I thought would never help anybody, definitely not me, with the long hair and I was still in my tri-suit with a bone sticking out of my shirt that you could see. But no, he came over, totally comforted me. And it's just at the core of it all is that all that crap, that's part of who we all are. We all have our little thing. But at the end of the day, we're all just, like he said to me, we're all just trying to walk each other home.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I guess so. Like, we're all humans. We're all, if he's burning, I'm going to try and help. I don't ask first, do you support Donald Trump? Or are you gay? Are you straight? Are you black, white? You just help.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that Mike and I like about, or it's one thing I like about working with Mike, is that we appear very different. Like, I'm middle-aged, like we talked about Gen X. I'm a Black female. I skew very, very liberal, and I'm not commenting on Mike's skew. I'm just saying, for me, I skew like progressive, probably because I'm a woman of color. Mike's not. He's pale as a ghost.
He's a ginge.
I'm a ginge, man.
Ginger, and different generation, and was in the military, and and I think I've had some eye-opening experiences. Mike's a hunter, not a hunter, and when we do sit down and talk with people who are not normally, who we would say are not like us, and just talk as human beings, and you go, well, we have more in common than we have different. If we could just get out of our own way with some of the trappings that we put on ourselves, I'm on this side, you're on that side, I'm this color or that color, gender, or whatever it is, then I feel like, at the end of the day, we're just humans. It's just figuring out how to actually have that conversation is super hard right now.
Yeah,
doesn't happen.
It's hard right now, and if we could, and also, yeah, we're all humans and we're all similar in our humanity, but it's all those differences. Like Mike is a hunter; he was in the military. I'm vegan. Like I've never had a gun in my hand. I've never been on a motorcycle, right? But those differences, that's what makes us all interesting. And That's what, like,
Yeah.
if I sat down next to a person just like me, the first 5 minutes would be great. You do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The kind of stuff you do when you meet a person in a bar and you're trying to
Uh-huh.
pick them up and you agree with everything they say, even though you don't. It's boring, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah, yeah,
boring.
yeah,
And once you
yeah,
get past those first 5 minutes, it's okay. Well, now this is interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
That's
no,
true.
I was just listening to another podcast this morning, This American Life. I don't know if you ever,
Mm-hmm.
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 Yeah.
and it was about lying, like the stupid things people lie about. And the first person they had on was an autist, someone with autism, um, mild on the spectrum autism. And I teach a lot of autistic kids, and they're my favorite because they don't know how to lie. There's no bullshit.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, sir, your teeth are yellow. Why? I
Yeah.
drink too much coffee.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
and it's
The same way you get with the young kids, right? Yeah.
exactly. It's just there's no filter. It's just boom. Here it is.
Like, Uncle Mark, why are you eating that much food? You're too fat. Like, ooh. Yeah. And so what I love too about that honesty and going back to your book too about the intersections and cross sections of people, it's like the humanity really comes through, when we sit down and talk with people and I love one of my favorite things still in this book is your intro with comparing a Try Guy to Guy Fieri
Yeah.
and how it comes together and it works with every single part of it and finding these threads of commonality and bridging these gaps is and having the humanity like really shine through is what I love about this book and makes it work.
Yeah. I wrote that intro last.
Mm-hmm.
I had written the whole book, and I thought to myself, well, um, unlike my first book, none of these stories kind of fit together. And I didn't even try, but I was just sitting down thinking, I wonder how I could get that to fit. And I thought of, well, that story. But before that, I thought about the painter that I talk about, Chuck Close.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people are familiar with him, but most of his paintings are these gigantic pieces that are made up of tiny individual squares or circles or what
Mm-hmm.
have you, shapes. And if you get close enough to it, you're looking from a really close. It's just a blur. It's
Yeah.
pretty. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. And you think, oh, well, that's really, really, really nice. But what is it? And then you step away from it, and the further back you go, this image comes into focus. It's no
Mm.
longer blurry, and
Yeah.
you can see what the picture is underneath all of the crap.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I thought about this book. And when I reflected on that story that I tell at the beginning of the typical triathlete that I saw at the
Yeah.
airport, and he was wearing it all, the compression
Yes.
socks, the Oakley wraparound goggles, the camisole, I don't know what you call it, tank top
Yep.
in the airport. Like, who fucking does that, right?
Yeah. Two
Instantly,
watches too. Yeah.
two
Two
watches.
watches.
That's like one because that one's got the power, and this one, like, dude, fuck off. You're coming in like 155th. It's like, who
Yeah.
cares? And a
Yeah.
sunburnt head, and he had the visor, not the cap, and it's like, oh my god. And my friend thought, dude, look at this fucking loser. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, yeah, but I kind of like him. It reminds me of Guy Fieri.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, what are you talking? He doesn't look like Guy Fieri at all. I think, yeah, but think about it. Like, if you watch that diners, drive-ins, and dives guy, he's abhorrent. It's just like he looks like a dork, right? The glasses on the back of the head, the frosted tip, spiky hair,
Frosted
the
tips. Yep.
the shut the front door guy, and all that
Yeah.
crap. Each individual thing, just like those paintings by Chuck Close, each individual square is meaningless. It's awful. It's something I don't like. Put it all together though, and it works for me.
It
Like, I
works.
watch that show all the time, and I
Yeah.
love the guy. I mean, I don't
Yep.
know if I like him in real life, but he works on the show.
Yeah.
Even like
Yeah.
rock stars, like you.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now, Michael Jackson with the glove and the funny shoes. Come on, you look like an idiot, but holy shit, it's good. It's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. It works. Right. Yeah. It's exactly. And fun fact that where I live, Guy Fieri's like a hometown hero guy. He's like just up the road from me, and I have the same reaction. All these things are just like it's ridiculous. And then you see the guy out there like in real life too. Probably a decent guy. He's serving lunch for thousands of people for like when we had our fires out here and everything. But that aside, yeah, when you back up and you see the complete package, it works. And what I love about that too is, and I think the timing of your book is perfect in terms of being able to see people that way and being able to back up and really reevaluate. Like, okay, first impressions of certain characteristics, sure, but then who is this person? A deeper exploration. And I personally think the Nosebleeds and the Maga Man, the title is pretty punk rock, because yeah, it's inconvenient to use that at this time when the election happened for sure. But that's what's punk rock about it. It's fucking fuck you. We're doing it anyways, at least in my mind.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm glad to hear that coming from someone in the States.
Yeah.
But yeah, because, well, for me, if I'm honest, I say that I was ignorant of it. I actually thought in the back of my mind, shouldn't that work? Like,
Yeah.
like no matter
Yeah.
who you are, you're going to see that and you're going to think, oh, wow, yeah, okay, it's relevant.
Uh-huh.
But I think it is scary. And a lot of people, I'm going to say most people, that's bullshit. But a lot of people are afraid of things. It's kind of like my dad. My dad's of that age where there's some mild racism,
Right.
because he is a boomer, so it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, and things scare him. You see someone of a different color on the same side of the street coming his way, he would cross over. I think, Dad, what the fuck are you doing? But people get afraid by appearances and stuff that other people show you. They assume that that's everything there is about that person. Otherwise, why would they throw that on display? Why would Guy Fieri
Yeah.
dress the way he does? He obviously wants us to see that, and that's all. But that's not. Maybe he just likes that stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the try guy, maybe he's just proud. He's proud of doing a triathlon. Most people that are looking at him and judging him can't finish a fucking triathlon.
Yeah.
Right? So
Exactly. Yeah. So who are we to, cast stones in that
Yeah.
aspect? Well,
except for the one chapter of my book about Susudio, the Phil Collins song.
yep.
We can all judge that. That's just, that doesn't need to exist. That's horrible.
Well, the way I thought about the cover and the title of your book is it reminds me in some strange way of the Nirvana's Nevermind,
Oh, yeah.
like album cover with the naked baby going after the dollar.
Yeah.
Because you're right, it scares people. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the same way it draws you into it, like I gotta check it out.
Yeah, what's behind this? It's got to be a reason for this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Often you find out there's nothing there, but
I know that's disappointing, but as a fan of yours, Brock, and your writing, and I can say there's something there for this, and we're going to have the link in the show notes and to the book, to both your books, and it's been fun talking to you. I love knowing you. I love what you stand for, and it's just really fun to be able to come together like this. I appreciate you taking the time to be on our show today.
oh, I'm glad to be here. I have a lot of fun talking to you. It's a good time.
Yeah, it is, and I want to make sure that everybody knows Nosebleeds and the Maga Man and other adventures about running and getting punched in the face is available where you get your books, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and if you can't read this without cracking a smile and laughing, there's something wrong with you, and you need to go to the doctor immediately. So, that being said, Brock, thank you, brother. I appreciate you, and we're gonna get you back on and talk about your next book when that comes out too.
That'd be great. Thanks for having me, Mike.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And like always, if you like the show, go ahead, subscribe, tell a friend about it. If you don't like the show, that's cool too. Let us know. Anyways, we will see you all next time.